Hi, seventh grade. I just want to go over the two sections for this week that we have in our voyages. So I'm looking at 8.4 right now. I'm on page 444. We're looking at restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. Um, some adjective clauses are essential to the meaning of sentences in which they appear. Without them, the sentences would no longer make sense. These essential clauses are called restrictive clauses. An adjective clause that is not essential to the meaning of a sentence is a non restrictive clause. The special goddesses who assisted the chief god Odin were named the Valkyries. This is a restrictive clause. Okay, this means that it's an essential clause. It needs to be in the sentence for clarity. Okay, it's telling us who assisted the chief god Odin. Okay, who these special goddesses were. The Valkyries, who rode horses in the sky, were special goddesses in Norse mythology. This is a non restrictive clause. So, this is something that we could take out of the sentence and it would still be clear. It would still make sense. Okay. The adjective clause is the second sentence. In the second sentence is not necessary to the sentence. It just gives additional information. So, the clause in the first sentence here we have with the Valkyries. The Valkyries who wore armor did not fight in battle. So this is non-restrictive. Okay, and those in the second and third sentences, so the sentences that you have here, the goddess who led the Valkyries was Phasia, and the chariot on which she rode was pulled by a boar. In both of those, the italicized clauses there are both restrictive. Okay, so in the first sentence, the adjective clause merely adds information. If it is removed, the basic meaning of the sentence remains. The adjective clauses in the other sentences cannot be removed. If they are removed, the sentences are unclear. Sometimes we won't know who they're talking about in the sentence. It maybe could say, like Michelangelo's statue. Well, Michelangelo has a lot of statues that he created. So if we don't give the specific statue, the sentence is unclear. Okay, so that's what the purpose of some of these clauses are, to give that information that is needed for clarity. Okay, and then it gives some characteristics. So note the following characteristics of adjective clauses. A non-restrictive clause is set off by commas. A restrictive clause is not set off by commas. So always look for those things. Okay, a proper noun is usually followed by a non-restrictive clause. And then the relative pronoun that is generally used for restrictive clauses and which for non-restrictive clauses. So follow those rules or guidelines as you're going through this exercise, and that should really help you to be able to find the restrictive and non-restrictive clauses. Okay, go through exercise 1 and see if you're on the right track. I gave you the answers. They're on School Speak, and then go ahead and do exercise 2 by identifying the adjective clause. Please underline it and then label them restrictive or non-restrictive. If it is non-restrictive, rewrite the sentence and then add the commas where they are needed. Okay, and then the next section is going to be adverb clauses. So adverb clauses are going to function just like any other adverb, okay? So we've been looking at this a lot in our last few sections here. So an adverb always describes or modifies an adjective, a verb, or another adverb. That's its job, okay? So it's going to function in the same way. Instead of being one word, though, it's going to be a clause, just like we saw with prepositional phrases in the last one. We had adjective phrases, and they were just phrases instead of one word. So this is going to be similar here, okay? So dependent clauses may function as adverbs describing or giving information about verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. These clauses, called adverb clauses, tell where, when, why, in what way, to what extent, or in under what condition. Because settlers took over their habitats, mountain lions disappeared east of the Rockies, except in Florida and Texas. The adverb clause tells why and describes the verb disappeared. Adverb clauses are usually introduced by subordinate conjunctions, some of which are listed below. So look for those to kind of help you identify an adverb clause. They're not always going to start with one of these words, but they most likely will. A subordinate conjunction joins an adverb clause to an independent clause. So what you're looking for is basically you're going to have, once again, because a dependent clause cannot stand alone, it's going to have to be attached to an independent clause. Okay, so you might have one of these subordinate conjunctions like after or although that are going to begin one of these adverb clauses, and then you will see that has to be attached to an independent clause. or it won't be a complete sentence. Okay. So once again, go ahead and go through exercise 1, looking to make sure you're on the right track. And then exercise 2, you're identifying the dependent clause in each sentence. And then here you have to decide if it's adjective or adverb. Okay, so it's kind of reviewing some of the things we've already gone through. Look for those clue words. Okay, look for the subordinate conjunctions that are on page 446 to help you. Okay, that's going to be a good indicator of where those clauses begin. Okay, I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions as you work throughout this week. Have a great week and take care.